Okay, yes, we're live, and this show is a good one. It is all about the pathway to victory for Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and obviously we're going to be doing the preview for the ABBA, not the ABBA preview. That's a whole different show. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We've got a lot to get into. Of course, we'll be doing our usual top five. Who's going to finish 1 to 5? Who's going to be the dipstick of the weekend? Who's going to be the driver of the weekend? But we've got so much more tonight. So if you are an F1 fan, then of course you're in the right place. If you haven't already, subscribed to the channel. If you do enjoy the video, please smash a like on it. And don't forget to turn on the bell so you can keep up to date with all of our content. I'm going to go to the chat and say hello. Hey Kyle, hey Mark, hey Eric is in there as well, live via Gemma, queen of the chat in there. I'm going to have a little poll running tonight. It's a really easy one. Just to let you know what tonight's poll is going to be. Who is winning the F1 2025 World Drivers' Championship in Abu Dhabi? You got your choices, so you can get involved throughout the show in the poll. So yeah, we've got so much to get into tonight. We're going to be going through Max's pathway to victory, Oscar's pathway to victory, Lando's pathway to victory. We're going to be talking about the Aramco driver standing. Who's at the top of that? Who do those experts believe has been the driver of the season? What else we got? We've got the F1 2026 grid fully decided. We're going to be talking about that. I think Cal mentioned it as well. Cadillac have announced some big news. They're going to be announcing their delivery during the Super Bowl. So we all get to that first look at the Cadillac. Very, very cool. So we've got lots to talk about. Yeah, so we're going to get into it. And as always, make sure you get in the chat. We're fully interactive and we can talk about it all. So yes, we've got Abu Dhabi this weekend. And it's all, so let's look at the circuit first. So let me do what we always do. A couple of stats on the Yas Marina circuit. So it's 5 kilometers long, which means there's only 58 laps. As you know, last year Lando Norris qualified pole. He was also your winner. Max Verstappen's won here a lot. He won here 2020, 2021, 22, 23. But the all-time most wins is Lewis Hamilton. He's won here 5 times. Most constructors the most constructors wins is for Red Bull. And you know what? It's a nice circuit. You can actually overtake here, which is good news because that's what we want. That's what we need. But last year, let me take you back. Let me take you back to last year before we start getting into the pathways. Now, do you remember this? Lap 1, turn 1. A better view of it would be here. So this was lap 1, turn 1. Max Verstappen colliding with Oscar Piastri, allowing Lando Norris to win the race quite comfortably. Piastri finished P10 actually, and Max I think was about P6. So here's the point I'm trying to make. No matter what the qualifying positions are, lap 1, turn 1, everyone's going to risk it for a biscuit. We could see this type of thing happening, which does make it exciting because we've got 3 drivers. We've got Max, Oscar and Lando, all with a shout at winning it. Obviously, Lando's in pole position, isn't he? He's 12 points ahead of Max, 16 points ahead of Oscar. But it doesn't mean that these drivers can't still walk away with the World Drivers' Championship. It's actually... Let's talk about the pathways. So, Lando Norris. Let's take a look. Lando Norris guaranteed the World Drivers' Championship if he finishes first, second, or third, regardless of what Piastri and Verstappen do. So he's just got to finish in the top 3. And he wins it. But there is a plethora of situations that mean that, you know, he could lose it. And we're going to talk about those. Hey, no, Jay, evening. Max wins the championship. We'll be coming to him in a minute. We'll be talking about just how Max can win it in just a moment. So let's look at Lando. So if Lando finishes first, second, or third, he wins it. If he finishes fourth, and Verstappen has to finish second or lower, it doesn't matter about Piastri. If he finishes fifth, Verstappen has to finish second or lower. Sixth, Verstappen second or lower, and Piastri second or lower. Seventh, second or lower with Max, second or lower for Piastri. Eighth, we'll give it, it'll be, oh no, that was, I can't even see it on my, third or lower for Max, plus second or lower for Piastri. If Norris finishes ninth, it means Verstappen has to finish fourth or lower, or second or lower for Piastri. 10th means fourth or lower for Max, and third or lower for Piastri. And 11th, fourth or lower for Max, and third or lower for Piastri. So I don't think those lower... Look, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Lando is going to finish 6th, 7th, or 8th. I don't. Do I think Lando could finish 4th, 5th, or 6th? Or a DNF? Yeah, I do. I do think that's possible with Lando. Because Oscar's found his pace. He was quick in Qatar. I think he's going to be quick in Abu Dhabi. So I think Norris could finish outside of the top 3 is what I'm saying. I think he could. I don't think it's that far-fetched. If there's an incident, if his qualifying doesn't go well, there is a situation where Lando Norris doesn't automatically win. Doesn't automatically finish in the top 3. Oh yeah, and by the way, don't forget later in the show, we are going to be talking about our predictions. Thank you, Jaman, and Encryption. Oh, it's DT's in encryption. Yes, DT, don't forget. Like DT say in the chat, get all your predictions in. Your top 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your dipstick of the weekend and your driver of the weekend predictions. Get them in the chat. But yeah, so that's Norris's pathway. He's just got to finish in the top 3. He wins. But there are alternatives. Now, here's the big one that everyone wants to know. So, Piastri and Max. Max's pathway to winning the World Drivers' Championship. So, if Max finishes first, Norris has to finish 4th or lower, and Piastri can finish in any position. So, if Max wins it, Norris needs to finish 4th or lower. I can see that being possible. If Max finishes second, because, if Max finishes second, then Lando has to finish 5th or lower, and Piastri has to finish 3rd or lower. And that's where I think it gets a bit tricky, because we'll be coming to Piastri in a minute. And if Max finishes 3rd, then it's 9th or lower for Norris, and 2nd or lower for Piastri. I think Max, if he's going to win the World Drivers' Championship, he needs to come really. He needs to go all out, balls to the wall. He's got to win it, right? I think that's the thing. And if he does win it, I think there's a chance. If he wins the race in Abu Dhabi, I think there's a chance. But Piastri has also got a chance. If Piastri finishes first, Norris needs to finish 6th, and Max can finish anywhere. If Piastri finishes second, then Norris has to finish 10th, and Max has to finish 4th or lower. So that leaves a load of different ways that Max can win, Oscar can win, and obviously we know Lando's just got to finish in the top 3. But he doesn't even. There's so many different variations in which each one of these drivers could win the World Drivers' Championship. But it comes down to what's likely, because Piastri's on fire, Max is qualifying really well, and the front row of the grid is going to be vital, because I can see a situation here where Lando Norris only qualifies P3. And Max and Oscar are on the front row of the grid. I can. Oscar's found his pace. Max is going to be running that, working that team to the bone to get that car competitive. And we'll know, won't we, on Friday in practice. But yeah, it is all possible. Jaman says Yuki becomes a bowling ball and takes out the McLarens in the first turn if he's close enough. Yeah, I mean, we're not even talking. And there's also the Racing Bulls. Do they play a part? It depends on the pit strategies, right? Who knows who's going to get involved in, who's going to end up playing a part? Because it doesn't even have to be, a conspiracy theory incident where the Racing Bulls or Yuki's all of a sudden taking drivers out. It could just be a racing incident. It could be a Bortoletto or a Colapinto, an Alonso, a Lance Stroll. It could be anyone, right? Who could interfere with this race unintentionally. So it isn't a foregone conclusion. I mean, it's most likely result is Lando's going to win it, but it's not definite. That's the thing. But Piastri and Max all could win it. But the main thing to remember is if Max wins the race, Norris has to finish fourth or lower. If Norris is in fourth position and Max is winning the race, get excited if you're a Max Verstappen fan. Because I think Max will do his bit. I do. I think he can do his bit. But you can't rule out Piastri. And I'm not going to give anything away about my top 5 predictions because we're going to be coming to that in just a moment, a little bit later. But there's a few other things to talk about. But I am going to go to the chat. So Jaman says, yeah, I've already read that one out. Triplex says, I saw it in my dream, guys. Lando gets pole and crashes at turn 1. It could happen. Turn 1, lap 1. If Max qualifies P3, he is going to go for the gap. Without a shadow of a doubt, he is going to be gunning it in to turn 1. However, there are runoff areas in Abu Dhabi. There's no, excuse me. Yeah, there are runoff areas, so you can literally enjoy the fact that if you go wide, you can rejoin the circuit. So, hey, Mark. So unable to choose my top 5 is going to be hard. Anything could happen. So difficult to say. That's the point. You've got to commit, Mark. You've got to commit to your top 5. That's the whole point. Yes, it's difficult. You've got to make your choice. Chef says, if Lando Norris does not win this title, then it was a good race. Yeah, I'd say that's true. All in, pit crew at McLaren will be so busy trying to do the perfect strategy for Norris, and they can make a mistake like in Monza. Well, McLaren pit crew have not been consistent this season. The only consistent pit crew this season has actually been Ferrari. They're the top of the DHL pit crew table with consistent 2.2 seconds. Who cares? You're right, Mark. All over first corner. 100% that could happen. 100% that could happen. And don't forget, we do have a poll running, which is who is winning the F1 2025 World Drivers' Championship in Abu Dhabi? Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, or Oscar Piastri? Yes, Triplex. Now, get those predictions in because I've got a couple of other things to talk to you about before we get to those things. So, first of all, quick reminder just to get you excited. That was lap 1, turn 1. Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen making contact. That could be any one of those 3 drivers, and it could be game over for Lando Norris if he gets contact. Anything can happen, so don't you forget it. I want to give a shout out. So here's something that's happening in Abu Dhabi. Nico Hülkenberg celebrating 250 Grand Prix starts. Look at that. So he's got a special helmet. For Nico Hülkenberg in Abu Dhabi. I like Nico Hülkenberg, I do, but it's crazy to think he's managed to get 250 Grand Prix starts and only 1 podium. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? And he got it this year at Silverstone. I think he might get more next year or the next. If Audi keep him after 26, going into 27, I think he might get more. But Nico Hülkenberg, lovely looking helmet. Congratulations, Nico, on your 250th Grand Prix. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the Aramco power ratings. So this is where every Grand Prix, they have 5 experts that give a score between 0 and 10 to each driver for their performance. Have they overperformed where they were expected to be on the grid for that car? Have they, really, have they maximized but also added value to the cars? And so this is where we're at with the Aramco power ratings. Like I said, these every driver gets a score from 10, and then it's averaged over all of the Grand Prix. And look who's at the top there. Smooth operator Carlos Sainz is number 1 of the Aramco power ratings with a 9.8. I mean, granted, the second half of this season he has done exceptionally well. To put it in perspective, Alexander Albon has scored 3 points since Baku, and Carlos Sainz has scored, I want to say over like 54, 55. Crazy. So Carlos Sainz, the top of the Aramco power ratings. Verstappen, with a rating of 9.2, is second. Piastri, interestingly, is on a 9, and he's P3, and this is over the whole season. And Lando Norris is down in P7. Fernando Alonso, P4, with a score of 8, very respectable in the Aston Martin. Hadjar, Rookie of the Year, score of 7.8, P5. Antonelli, P6 on a 7.6. Norris, like we just said, down in P7 with a 6.8. Leclerc is equal 7th with a 6.8. And then equal 9th, Gasly with a 6.6 and Lawson with a 6.6. So that is your top 10 drivers. Are we surprised? How is George Russell not in there? I don't know. George Russell, don't you think he's been overlooked a little bit? I think George Russell's had a good season. I think he's performed well. If Leclerc's in there, I think George Russell should have been in there. But these are the experts. Each Grand Prix assigning a score between 0 and 10. And then average out over, each Grand Prix. But yeah, Carlos Sainz, are you surprised he's at the top? I mean, I know he's had a good second half of the season, but the first half of the season, he was awful. He really was bad. Alonso doesn't surprise me. Gasly doesn't surprise me. I think he should be in the top 10. He's had a really good season in the Alpine. Not that he's done well comparatively to all the, in the Drivers' Championship. I just think from where that car was expected to perform, I think Gasly has done very well. And Lawson, nice to see him in there. He has got his drive, hasn't he, for the Racing Bulls next season. Deservedly so. So if you disagree or you do agree, get in the chat. Tell me what you think about the Aramco power ratings top 10. I'm going to go to the chat. Let me just scroll back. Oh, great. You're getting your predictions in. Good. So, no, Triplet says, is it the season overall? No. Oh, yeah, sorry. You asked for the Aramco power ratings. Yeah, this is the season overall. Yeah, smooth operator, baby, at the top with the Aramco power ratings. Cal's got his in. Good. I will be scrolling back for these. Chef, I was also expecting Russell top 3 for this. Yeah, I don't know how they've ignored Russell. I don't know how Russell's not in the top 10. He has really flattered the Mercedes. But Aramco, you're experts. What do you know? Oh, Rookie of the Year guesses for the race weekend. The Rookie of the Year I was going to do after the last race. I thought we were going to do, so on our roundup, I mean, we're still going to be doing content, by the way, all the time. So even after the last race, the following week we'll do a Rookies show where we'll be doing Rookie of the Year, talking about good rookie moments. So we'll be doing that after Abu Dhabi. So we'll be doing a whole show dedicated to rookies. Yeah, All In says Russell is one of the drivers that is consistently pushing that Mercedes limits. Yeah, I think he's been robbed. I think Max has been robbed to not get a mention in the Aramco top 10. I do. I think he's been robbed because George Russell, to get, a win in Canada was the first win. And then don't forget, that was Kimi Antonelli's first podium as well. He got a P3, first ever podium. I don't know. That Mercedes has just not looked good, has it? It's just not looked good. It's looked okay, but it's never looked like it's going to win. But thanks to George Russell and Kimi Antonelli's uptick in performance, Mercedes looking good for P2 in the Constructors. So, yeah, it's, I think George Russell's been robbed there. And speaking, actually, of 2026, here are your official F1 2026 driver lineups. Now that Red Bull and Racing Bulls have finally put us out of our misery and announced their drivers, let's talk about it. So, unchanged, McLaren, Norris, Piastri, Ferrari, unchanged, Leclerc, Hamilton, Red Bull Racing, Verstappen, Isaac Hadjar being promoted. What do you think about that? I hope it goes well for him. I do. I really do. I think he's a great driver. I've got my fingers crossed that he's allowed to race. They don't use him as Max Verstappen's number 2. They actually allow him to cook. Hope they do. Obviously, Mercedes, we've got George Russell, the school prefect, and then the young pretender, Kimi Antonelli, finding some form. Excited to see. I think Kimi Antonelli might cause a few upsets for Russell next season. I think Kimi Antonelli could beat Russell in a fair few Grand Prix next season. As we know, the Aston Martin team, we've got Adrian Newey building the car, Honda giving the power unit, and we've got Fernando Alonso. I think it's his last chance in 26 to go for his World Driver Championship, his third one. I think he's got a chance. And then, of course, we've got Lance Stroll. Whatever you think about him, he's got his drive at Aston Martin for 2026. Alpine, Pierre Gasly, well-deserved drive. He's done well. I think he's one of the most underrated drivers on the grid. And then probably, I don't know if he deserves his drive, but he's got it. Franco Colapinto, I want him to prove me wrong. Show me what you got, Franco, in the Alpine 2026. Ollie Behrman, solid year. Really outperformed Ocon a lot, which is Ocon's embarrassment, I should think. But they are your Haas drivers for 2026. Then we've got the Racing Bulls. We've got Liam Lawson and Arvid Lindblad. I don't know what I think about Arvid Lindblad. The jury's out for me. I'm rooting for him, obviously. I want to, when I see a rookie come in, he's the only rookie coming onto the grid next season. The only rookie. So I am rooting for him. I want him to do well. But I haven't seen enough of him in F2 that makes me think, this kid's going to be awesome. I don't know. Could be a disaster, which could be good news for Yuki, because if Arvid Lindblad is a bust, Yuki steps into that seat. So if you're a Yuki fan, I think Yuki's done the right thing taking that reserve seat. Anything can happen in the Red Bull camp. We could see Yuki on the grid again. Williams, Alexander Albon, and then smooth operator Carlos Sainz. That completes your Williams lineup. Audi, formerly known as Sauber, Nico Hulkenberg, Gabriel Bortoletto. And then, of course, which brings me in a long-winded way to a talk about Cadillac. Cadillac, new to the grid, 2026. You got Valtteri Bottas, Gemma's favourite driver of all time, queen of the chat. She loves a bit of Bottas. And of course, Checo, Sergio Perez, they will be on your grid driving for Cadillac. And Cadillac, like I said, will be announcing and premiering their livery during the Super Bowl, baby. How else could they have done it? Of course, the biggest sporting event of the year in America. That is the way to do it. I'm hoping I'm going to see Bottas flying in or parachuting in to the Super Bowl. That's what I want to see. I want to see something spectacular. I'm so glad Cadillac are coming to the grid in 26. If we look at the Vegas Grand Prix, the one thing the Americans are great at is the razzmatazz, is the show. They put the show in show business, don't they? And I want it. I'm here for it. Bottas can do the same. I'm here for it. So that's your driver lineups. So that's the housekeeping done. That brings you up to date on everything that I wanted to talk about before we get into our top 5 predictions. The reason why I wanted to put up the top 5 predictions is because it's going to also be telling you the top 5 predictions will be revealing who I think is going to win the World Drivers' Championship. Right? So here we go. Top 5 in reverse order. Who do I think is going to finish 5th? And then I'm going to look at your predictions. I'm going with P5. Can't keep him out of this show. Smooth operator. He's a smooth operator. Yes, Carlos Sainz is my prediction. Williams driver, Carlos Sainz. He's in this rich vein of form. The Williams looks better than ever. And I think he's going to do well here in Abu Dhabi. So Carlos Sainz is my P5 prediction. Does anyone agree with me? I'm going through your chat. I'm going through the chat now, trying to see who has said. Oh, so DT says Hadjar P5. Who else? Who else has got anyone? Anyone? Carlos Sainz P5. Or Mama? Yes, Mark Reeves. He's gone Carlos Sainz P5. Good work. Same as me. Gemma has gone Carlos Sainz P5. We're all vibing on this one. Anyone else got Carlos Sainz for P5? Let me know in the chat. Yes, so Carlos Sainz P5. I think it's a good shout. Now, P4. We've talked about him. He's been hard done by in the Aramco driver ratings. I'm going P4. The prefect himself. President of the Drivers Association, George Russell. I think George Russell's going to have an okay weekend. I think Mercedes is going to do all right. I think George Russell's going to be P4. Does anybody agree with me in the chat? So, no. DT says Oscar for P4. Oh, really? Anyone else got Max for P4? Sorry, George P4. Oh, Triple X has got George P2. Kyle says George P3. Gemma has got George P3 as well. All right, I'm on my own on this one then. All right, guys. If you agree with me on this, get in the chat if you're watching right now. Yeah, George Russell, P4. He's going to have a good weekend. The Mercedes is going to do okay. Yeah, simple as that. I think George is going to finish. He's going to finish the. He wants to make sure that he gets as many points as he can, just to confirm that P2 for Mercedes in the constructors. Right, this is where I'm revealing a lot. I think Lando Norris is going to get P3, which means I think Lando Norris is going to win the World Driver Championship. Now, let me talk you through this. I think Lando Norris is going to get P3, but I'm not 100% sure he is. I feel there is a chance that Lando Norris qualifies P3, ends up in an incident, and finishes like DNFs or finishes like P6 or 7. I actually do think it's possible. But I think the most likely for me is Lando Norris finishes P3, which means I think Oscar Piastri is going to beat Lando Norris. I'm going to finish P2. I think he's going to be fighting out at the top with Max. I think Piastri and Max are going to qualify on the front row of the grid. And it was a tough one because I actually think Piastri could win this race. But because I know Max is able to pull it out of the bag under pressure like he always does. He's better under pressure than any driver I know. And I think Red Bull are going to pull out all the stops. They may even bring out some aero bits, some upgrades for the car. So yeah, I'm going Oscar Piastri P2. We know McLaren aren't bringing any upgraded bits, no aero bits, nothing. The car is the car. They're only going to work. All they can do is sell. Whereas it wouldn't surprise me if Red Bull turn up with, you know, a new wing, some aero, you know. So anyway, Oscar Piastri P2, which obviously means Max Verstappen P1. So even though I'm saying Max Verstappen P1 and I've said Lando Norris P3, I think the most likely result is Lando wins the World Drivers' Championship. But I would say it's only just. I would say Max Verstappen is very likely to win the race. And I think with Lando, I would say there's only a 60% chance that Lando finishes in a position to win the race. I know I've put him in because I've got to put my prediction in there. That I put him to P3 but I've got him down at like 60% chance of getting that. And I think there's a 40% chance that he doesn't get P3 and he finishes way further down and Max wins it. So in my opinion, even though I know mathematically Lando's like a 75 to 80% favourite, I just think if you factor in Max's ability, what Red Bull might bring, other drivers being excited, battling it out on that first corner, I actually think that it's only a 60% chance that Lando wins over Max. Because it's Max. Honestly, because it's Max. I know it's probably supposed to be like an 80, but I'm going with 60. I reckon 6 out of 10 times Lando wins it. 4 out of 10 times Max wins it. That is what I think for the World Drivers' Championship. Let me know if you are in agreement. And I'm going to come to the poll to see if you are in agreement. So, who is winning the F1 2025 World Drivers' Championship in Abu Dhabi? Max Verstappen. You've got him down. It's 60%. So you're saying there's a 60% of you think he's going to win it. Lando Norris, only 30% of you, or 29% of you think he'll win it. 12% think Oscar. Wow. Yeah, I do. I think my maths are good. I think there's a 60% chance for me that Lando wins it and a 40% chance that Max wins the World Driver Championship. So that's revealing. I'm going to go to your top fives now. I'm going to scroll back. So DT had Max P1, same. You got George Russell P2, spanner in the works. Kimi Antonelli P3, okay. Oscar P4, Hadjar P5. So you're saying Max Verstappen wins the World Driver Championship. That's DT. Wow. Max is driver of the weekend. Dipstick Stroll. Someone's taking out Lando. I love it. I don't mean I love it like for Lando, but I mean I'm here for it. That would be exciting. Eric says I can see Lando and Oscar. That Eric's live wire, by the way. I could see Lando and Oscar take each other out. Possible. Yuki might take out Max or Hadjar in frustration. Oh my god. Right, so let's have a look. Yuki, I'm going to keep finding. If Stroll takes out Lando, I'll wear a Stroll cap and jersey to Austin next year. That's Kyle. Listen, we'll be talking about Stroll in a minute. So, Legend says, Max has been gifted a lifeline, he'll take it. See, this is what I think. Max, you can't rule him out. He lives for these high-pressure deciders. That's what I think as well. This is the thing about Max. You know, the odds are skewed towards him because of his freaking personality, and he just seems to up his game when the stakes are high and the pressure's on. Max seems to find even another gear. Okay, Mark says Oscar P1, Norris P2. So you're having Norris down, winning the World Drivers' Championship. Max P3, Hadjar P4, Carlos P5. Okay, so Kyle says Max P1, Oscar P2, George P3, Kimi P4, Charles P5. So yeah, so Kyle's got Max as winning the World Driver Championship as well. Oh no, and then he caveats it with, I actually think Norris wins it all. Okay. So that's more of a wish list. That's what you're hoping for. Gemma says Max P1, Lando P2. So Max is saying Lando Norris. Gemma, queen of the chat, is saying Lando wins the World Drivers' Championship because he's going to finish P2. Russell P3, P4 Piastri, P5 Carlos. And then you got driver of the weekend Alonso. Interesting. Dipstick. You got Dipstick Hadjar. You think Hadjar's going to have a stinker, Gemma? Okay. I don't know. I think Hadjar's going to be buzzing. All right. So, interesting. So, we've got a mixed bag here. Some of you think Lando's going to get it. Some of you think Max is going to get it. I like it. I'm going to now go on to my driver of the weekend prediction. Again, can't keep him out of the chat. Smooth operator. I should have just called this a Carlos Sainz show. He's in the chat again. So my driver of the weekend prediction, Carlos Sainz. I think he's on a roll. I think he's going to get P5. I think he's found this vein of form. He's just got a real cool relationship with the team at Williams now. And the car, Williams looking good. Well, looking better. So my driver of the weekend's Carlos Sainz. A couple of you agree with me on that. Gemma says Alonso. Could be. But now, are you saying, Gemma, let me ask you a question. Have you gone with Fernando Alonso as your driver of the weekend prediction because Adrian Newey is going to be trackside, fettling with Alonso's car like he did in Qatar? You know, whatever Adrian Newey did, because Adrian Newey said, we've tuned Fernando Alonso's car. Maybe he's going to do it again or do something similar in Abu Dhabi. So, okay, I get it. So, Alonso, I'll take it. Who else have we got? Anyone got anyone different? Hadjar. I think Hadjar's not a bad shout as well because I think Hadjar could have a great weekend. He's going to be buzzing, isn't he? He's just got promoted. He's going to be in the Red Bull. I would be scared. I'd be more fearful if I was Hadjar than buzzing, to be honest. But I think he's going to put on a good show. I do. I think Lawson's going to put on a decent show as well. I think he's going to want to. I think watch out for the Racing Bulls, actually. I think they're both going to put on a bit of a show this weekend. So, yeah. So that's our driver of the weekend prediction. Dipstick of the weekend prediction. I've done it. I've joined you lot. I'm finally on. The Lance Stroll is going to be the dipstick of the weekend. I know most of you think that. I know you do. Because it's Lance Stroll, and a lot of you love a bit of Lance Stroll bashing. But after what he did in Qatar, where he's throwing his steering wheel, he's pushing his trainer after qualifying, he's furious, acting like an absolute spoiled brat. I just think Lance Stroll, because of his mentality, I think he's given up on the season. I really don't think he gives a shit. That's the problem with Lance. I think he's like, if you don't give me a good car, you know, I just think his toys are out of the cart. So I think Lance Stroll is going to be the dipstick of the weekend. He's going to do something crazy. I actually think with Lance Stroll, here's what could happen with Lance Stroll. He has a good qualifying with Alonso. He qualifies midfield, maybe even as high as P8, right? P8, P9. And because he doesn't give a shit, he guns it, lap 1, turn 1, and he ends up causing a major collision. I think he's got it in him because Lance Stroll doesn't care at this point, does he? So do I think Lance Stroll could do something really crazy, really stupid, last race of the season, have a really good qualifying, and then, like you say, end up causing a collision which puts Lando Norris out of the Grand Prix? Yeah. I think if anyone could do this, I think Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto, Gabriel Bortoleto, Nico Hulkenberg, possibly. Who else? I think Lawson. I think you've got a few liabilities, honestly. If they're in the midfield, they have a good qualifying performance that really could affect the race on the first lap. I do. I actually do. I think you got some of these wild cards, man. Even people like, Ollie Behrman. You got to remember, Ollie Behrman's got 9 points on his super license. Ollie Behrman can make a mistake. He can, and he could qualify in that midfield Q3 perform, in a Q3 performance. So I think a lot of these drivers could cause upsets in one way or another. Alexander Albon as well, and he's not even a rookie. So yeah, but for me, Lance Stroll is my prediction for dipstick of the weekend. And I know I don't even need to look at the chat to know. Oh, Gemma says Hadjar. That's controversial, that one. I think pretty much everyone else, because no one's gone with Yuki either. I think everyone's feeling sorry for Yuki, so no one's predicted Yuki's going to be dipstick of the weekend. Everyone, I know. So there you can see DT's gone Stroll. I think pretty much Kyle's gone Stroll. I think everyone's feeling at Stroll, apart from Gemma, Queen of the Chat, who's saying Hadjar's going to be dipstick of the weekend. So that's our predictions for the weekend. But yeah, I need to have a look at our poll. The poll, right, I'm going to end this poll. Loads of votes. We got bad. So the question was, who is winning the F1 2025 World Drivers' Championship in Abu Dhabi? Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, or Oscar Piastri? I'm going to end the poll now. Here are your poll results. Can you see it? Has it come up? Is my chat working? It's not come up, has it? There could be something wrong with my chat here. I'm going to try and refresh it. Hang on. Oh, there it is. Right, it's up. Oh yeah, right. Oh gosh, right. Yeah, sorry. I missed loads of chat. Absolutely loads. I'm going to come back to it. Yeah. So, Triplex, Carlos here. Triplex says, sorry if you've been waiting for me for ages to get to the chat. I had to refresh it. Triplex says, yeah, I'm surprised Carlos shit the bed for the first half. I won't give any more than 7.5 overall. This is for the Aramco driver ratings. All in says, did they watch the race pace? Colapinto's been on par up to Gasly in raw race pace. Listen, Colapinto and Gasly have been far closer together now. They're towards the end of the season. Couldn't agree more. He has. I'll give him that. And then all it says, even beating Gasly. Yeah, but I think I thought Gasly might have checked out a little bit, waiting for the 26 car. I'm gonna look Colapinto. I think I'm open to being surprised about Colapinto. All in. I am prepared to be surprised next year. I am. He will probably. I think he's got potential. Kyle. George and Mercedes underperformed this year. Mercedes has definitely underperformed, but I think George has been a little bit better than the car. Eric says 1 Max, 2 Russell, 3 Sainz, 4 Piastri, 5 Lando. So Eric, Livewire, is saying that Lando Norris is going to win. Sorry, Max Verstappen's going to win the World Drivers' Championship with that prediction. I'm here for it, Eric. I'm here for it. Kyle says, George been beat by a rookie several times this year. I think it's only been 3 times. 3 times, I think it is. It might even only be twice. Yeah, 3 times, I think it is this year. Mark Reeves, Dipstick of the Day. Lance, Driver of the Day, Carlos. Same as me. Legend singing Bye-Bye Yuki. Yeah, but you didn't predict him for Dipstick of the weekend, did you, Legend? Kyle says, how does Colapinto have a ride still? I mean, look, I agree. I actually think, if it was me, I think Yuki would be better in that seat at Alpine than Colapinto, but Yuki didn't know he was losing his drive, did he? So Colapinto gets a seat, he brings a load of money. Let's see how he does next year. Let's see how he does. All in says Colapinto, there we have covered that. Yes, Alpine sucks, but Gasly has scored. Gasly has scored points. Gasly, again, totally overperformed what that car should have done, 100%. Arvid Lindblad, Rookie of the Year 26. Well, he has to be, Chef. He's the only bloody rookie on the grid. There's only one rookie. He wins, but it's true. He gets the trophy, doesn't he? Absolutely. Rookie of the Year. Mark, are you giving Rookie of the Year this year? Bearman. Are you? Jaman says, I think like last year, Hamilton, there'll be 2 driver change announcements over the winter before the start of 2026. Could be. Well, we'll see. I'm here for it because obviously we're going to still be doing content between, the end of the season and the start of the season. So that'll be great content. We'll have lots to talk about, won't we, on our shows? Who's going to be dead last? Alpine, Hassel, Cadillac. All right, Triple X. I'm going to piss off a lot of people here, and this is in no way casting shade on Cadillac. It's just anyone in their first season to not finish last has done remarkably well. Your first season in Formula One, Cadillac, if they don't finish last, that will be an amazing achievement. And that's in no way casting shade on Cadillac. I want to be surprised. Listen, I'd love Cadillac to hit the grid and be like a mid-table team. I'm here for it. But every Formula One is an evolution. It always is. Remember Haas? When they hit the grid, they were all horrible. So expect Cadillac to need to develop throughout the season. So, but because of that, I think they'll be last. Triplex says, Kyle's going straight in with Alpine. Alpine are running the Mercedes engine next year, though. I don't think Alpine will be as bad. I really don't. I think Alpine could be a midfield team. Eric agrees with Kyle, though. Eric's gone straight in with, Alpine are going to be the worst. I don't know. So Orlin says Alpine screwed him as well. He could have scored points at Zandvoort. Yeah, well, Gasly played dirty to him well on a different strategy. You talk about Colapinto. Yeah, Legend. That Lindblad clip is legendary. 5 years ago, I'll see you in F1, now confirmed. He spoke it into... I'm all about manifesting, speaking things into existence, Legend. I believe it. I'm going to speak this into existence. F1 Grandstand will have their own Formula One team by 2035. 10 years time, we'll make enough money to have our own Formula One team. Let's go, baby. So Triplex says Max P1, George P2, Oscar P3, Kimi and Lando P5. That means Max wins the World Driver Championship, Triplex. Love it. Chef says Antonelli P5, Russell P4, Verstappen P3, Piastri P2, Norris P1. So you think Lando Norris is going to win the World Drivers' Championship? Fair enough. Jaman says P5, George Russell. P4, Leclerc. P3, Lando. P2, Piastri. P1, Max. Similar to me, apart from I've got Sainz P5, Russell P4, and Leclerc not in there. But Max, that means you're giving Lando the championship there, Jaman. You're giving Lando the World Drivers' Championship. Fair enough. That's what I think is going to happen as well. 60%. 60% of me thinks that's going to happen. Triplex, Oscar has to step out for an academy driver. Oh, he does. FP1. I think this is bad for Oscar. You're right. Pato Ward is driving the McLaren in FP1, which is a big disadvantage for the final race of the season, especially when you're competing for the World Drivers' Championship. But yeah, he's not going to be in FP1. Hey, Summer. See you in the chat there. Good morning. Hope you are enjoying your coffee there in Australia. Norris will be eating all of his nerves. I think Norris is going to be shitting bricks. I actually do. DT says I think Lando will win the championship, but my predictions are more of a wishful thinking. But I do think that Lando, he's going to be shitting bricks. He hasn't won a World Drivers' Championship before. He is going to be very nervous. Mistakes can happen. And you can almost talk about manifestation, Lyjan. If you are worried and you are nervous, you can almost draw in bad luck towards you. All of a sudden, you got Lance Stroll sideswiping you, turn one, lap one. Lando always shown he does not have what it takes. She's all in saying Lando bottles it. Yeah. Carl says nothing to consider is that constructor standings. McLaren has nothing to gain, but Mercedes and RB are battling for second. The wild card is the bottom teams are all within reach of the six. I agree, and they can affect the World Drivers' Championship because you get a wild card like I said, like Lance Stroll qualifying somehow P8 is close enough to cause carnage with Lando if Lando only qualifies P3 flat on that first corner, goes for a gap. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Eric says, Livewire, Adrian Newey is going to get Lance all tuned up like a little SPF from Toto. Yeah, and Livewire also, Eric says Cadillac has the drivers when we're talking about where Cadillac could finish. Listen, I hope if Cadillac don't finish last in 26, I'm telling you right now, it's incredible. They should really give themselves a massive pat on the back. It's a huge achievement for Cadillac if they don't finish last. Someone says, too tired to make a coffee. You're still getting, listen, take your time. Take your time. It's early in Australia. Ease yourself into your day, Summer. Do your gratitudes. Ease yourself out of bed and start that day off right. So yeah, it's Summer says Max to win it. Oscar second. Too tired to think of the rest. Well, you're basically telling us that. Well, you need to tell us where you think Lando's going to finish. Because if Max wins it, do you think Lando's going to finish third or fourth? Because if he finishes fourth or lower, Max wins the World Drivers' Championship. Stemmer says coffee's fine. Lando, DNF. So you think Max is going to win the whole damn thing? You think Max is going to win everything? Oh, I'm here for it. Do you know what I just hope, right? And what I'm really here for? I'm just glad we've got to the last race of the 25 season where there are chances for Oscar, Max, or Lando to win the World Drivers' Championship. It keeps it exciting for all of us lot. We can enjoy the Grand Prix. We can build up the excitement through practice and qualifying. And we can actually just really enjoy this weekend together. So yeah. Oh, so all in's in Costa Rica. Nice. The sun's shining. 2:21 p.m. But that's the point. We can all enjoy it together. So I'm glad we've got a bit of excitement. We'll get excited between us. We'll watch the Grand Prix. We'll have the live timings. And we'll see what happens. And lap one, turn one of the race is going to be very exciting. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this show. Oh, so Livewire says, I think Lando ends up administrator of Cloud City. Costa Rica, baby. Everyone's getting excited about Costa Rica. Me too. That's where we need to have a meetup. We need to have a meetup in Costa Rica. But listen, guys, thank you so much. We've got our predictions in. We are totally ready. We'll be back tomorrow. Any breaking news, keep an eye out for that. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7:30, so we can discuss the days, whatever the news is. I will see you all then. And oh, by the way, if you are watching for the first time, subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the bell so you keep up to date with all of our content. I will see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for taking part. Thank you for your support. Ta-ta.